Welcome to a journey of enlightenment and wisdom, where we explore timeless life lessons from one of history's most profound spiritual teachers, Gautama Buddha. Buddha's teachings transcend cultures and generations, offering guidance on how to navigate the complexities of life. He shared insights that resonate deeply within us, illuminating the path toward inner peace, compassion, and understanding. In a world filled with distractions and uncertainties, the lessons of Buddha remind us of the importance of mindfulness, the power of love and compassion, and the necessity of self-reflection. From the Four Noble Truths to the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha's wisdom encourages us to seek clarity amidst chaos and to cultivate a life of purpose. Join us as we delve into these life lessons, drawing inspiration from Buddha's teachings to enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. Let us awaken our minds and open our hearts to the profound truths that guide us toward a more meaningful existence. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Let's begin. Today we will learn about Buddha's next life lesson, interconnectedness. Interconnectedness is a fundamental concept in many spiritual traditions, particularly in Buddhism, where it is often referred to as dependent origination or dependent arising, paticca samuppada in Pali. This concept suggests that all things in the universe are interconnected and interdependent, meaning that everything exists in relation to everything else. Nothing exists in isolation, rather, all phenomena arise in dependence on causes and conditions. The core of interconnectedness. At its core, interconnectedness is the understanding that everything in existence is part of a vast web of relationships. Each entity or event in the universe is influenced by and, in turn, influences countless others. This web of relationships is dynamic and constantly changing, meaning that everything is in a state of flux. In Buddhism, this idea is closely linked to the concept of impermanence, anicca, and non-self, anatta. Since all things are interconnected, they are also impermanent and do not possess an independent, unchanging essence. This realization can lead to a deeper understanding of the nature of reality and the reduction of suffering. Dependent origination, paticca samuppada. Dependent origination is a specific formulation of interconnectedness in Buddha's teachings. It describes the process by which phenomena arise and cease based on the presence or absence of certain conditions. This doctrine is often illustrated with the following chain of causation, which explains how suffering, dukkha, arises: ignorance, avijja, ignorance or misunderstanding of the true nature of reality leads to the formation of mental formations. Sankhara. These are volitional actions or karmic activities that shape our experiences, leading to consciousness. Vijnana, the awareness of sensory and mental objects, which gives rise to name and form. Namarupa, the mind-body complex, which involves both mental and physical components, leading to six sense bases. Salayatana, the six senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and mind, which interact with contact. Phassa, the meeting of the senses with their objects, leading to feeling. Vedana, the sensations of pleasure, pain, or neutrality that arise from contact, leading to craving. Tanha, the desire for or attachment to pleasurable experiences, leading to clinging. Upadana, the intensified attachment to experiences, objects, or ideas, leading to becoming. Bhava, the process of becoming or existence, which leads to birth. Jati, the arising of new experiences or life forms, which inevitably leads to aging and death. Jaramarana, the decay and cessation of life, accompanied by sorrow, lamentation, pain, and despair. This chain illustrates how suffering arises due to the interdependent nature of all phenomena. By understanding and breaking this chain, particularly through the cessation of ignorance and craving, one can attain liberation from the cycle of suffering. practical implications of interconnectedness. Understanding interconnectedness has profound implications for how we live our lives and interact with the world around us. Here are some key practical applications. 1. Compassion and empathy. When we recognize that all beings are interconnected, it naturally leads to greater compassion and empathy. We understand that the suffering of others is not separate from our own, and this motivates us to act with kindness and support. This recognition also helps us see beyond our own individual concerns and consider the well-being of others, fostering a sense of shared responsibility. 2. Environmental awareness. Interconnectedness highlights the deep relationship between humans and the natural world. Our actions have direct and indirect impacts on the environment, which in turn affects all life forms. Understanding this can inspire more sustainable living practices, as we become aware of how our consumption, waste, and lifestyle choices influence the broader ecological system. 3. Personal responsibility. Interconnectedness emphasizes that our thoughts, words, and actions have consequences. What we do not only affects us but also those around us and the larger world. This can lead to a greater sense of personal responsibility and mindfulness in our daily actions, encouraging us to live in ways that promote harmony rather than conflict. 4. Non-attachment. By understanding that everything is interconnected and impermanent, we can cultivate a sense of non-attachment. This doesn't mean indifference but rather an acceptance of the transient nature of life. Non-attachment allows us to engage with life fully, appreciating the present moment without clinging to it, and letting go when the time comes. 5. Holistic thinking. Interconnectedness encourages us to think holistically, recognizing that problems cannot be understood or solved in isolation. This approach can be applied to many areas, including health, education, business, and community development. For example, in healthcare, a holistic approach considers the physical, mental, emotional, and social aspects of a patient's well-being, recognizing that these elements are interconnected. The interconnectedness of self and others. In Buddhist teachings, the idea of interconnectedness extends to the very nature of the self. The self is not seen as an independent, permanent entity but as a collection of interconnected processes, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and perceptions, that are constantly changing. This understanding challenges the conventional notion of a separate, isolated self and encourages a more fluid and relational view of identity. It promotes the idea that our well-being is deeply tied to the well-being of others, leading to a more inclusive and compassionate worldview. Interconnectedness in modern contexts. The concept of interconnectedness has also found resonance in various modern contexts. 1. Science and ecology. In ecological studies, the interconnectedness of life is a fundamental principle. Ecosystems are seen as complex networks of interdependent species and environments, where changes in one part of the system can have far-reaching effects. The study of networks, whether in biology, technology, or social systems, further underscores the interconnected nature of modern life. The global economy, social media, and even human health are understood as networks of interconnected elements. 2. Globalization. In a globalized world, the interconnectedness of nations, cultures, and economies is more apparent than ever. Events in one part of the world can have significant impacts elsewhere, highlighting the need for global cooperation and understanding. This interconnectedness can lead to both positive and negative outcomes, such as the spread of technological advancements or, conversely, economic crises. It also underscores the importance of addressing global challenges like climate change, which require collective action. 3. Psychology. In psychology, the interconnectedness of mind and body, as well as the influence of relationships and social environments on mental health, is widely recognized. Practices like mindfulness and psychotherapy often focus on understanding these connections to promote well-being. The concept of interdependence is also reflected in the understanding of trauma and healing, where individual experiences are seen in the context of broader social and familial networks. Conclusion: interconnectedness is a profound concept that invites us to see the world as a web of relationships, where everything is interconnected and interdependent. By understanding and embracing this interconnectedness, we can cultivate compassion, responsibility, and a deeper sense of connection to all life. Whether in spiritual practice, daily living, or broader societal issues, the recognition of our interconnected nature can lead to a more harmonious and fulfilling existence. A short story on interconnectedness, The Web of Life, a tale of interconnectedness. In a small village nestled between the mountains and the sea, there lived an old fisherman named Ramu. Ramu was known for his wisdom and gentle heart, and though he had lived a simple life, he was deeply respected by all who knew him. Every morning, before the sun rose, Ramu would set out on his boat to fish, always offering a prayer to the sea for its generosity. One summer, the village was struck by an unexpected drought. The river that fed the village began to dry up, and the crops withered under the relentless sun. The villagers grew anxious, for their lives depended on the land and the water. Ramu, seeing the suffering of his fellow villagers, decided to seek counsel from the oldest tree in the forest, a towering banyan that had stood for centuries. The banyan was said to be the guardian of the forest, its roots stretching deep into the earth and its branches reaching towards the heavens. As Ramu approached the ancient tree, he knelt down and placed his hand on its massive trunk. "Great banyan," Ramu said, "the village is suffering. The river has dried, and the land is parched. Please, tell me what can be done." The banyan, sensing Ramu's sincerity, spoke in a voice as old as the earth itself. "Ramu, everything in this world is interconnected, like the threads of a vast web. When one thread is pulled, the entire web feels its tug. The drought that has befallen your village is not an isolated event, it is the result of many small actions and changes that have accumulated over time." Ramu listened carefully, though he did not fully understand. "But how can we, simple villagers, restore balance to the land?" The banyan's leaves rustled in the wind as it replied, "To understand the web, you must first see how each thread is connected. Begin by looking at your own actions, and how they influence the world around you." Ramu thanked the banyan and returned to the village, determined to observe the connections the tree had spoken of. Over the next few days, he noticed small things he had overlooked before. He saw how the villagers cut down trees to build their homes without replanting them, leaving the earth bare and exposed. He saw how the once clear river was now muddy and polluted, clogged with waste that had been carelessly discarded. And he saw how the soil, no longer held together by the roots of trees, had begun to erode, causing the river to recede. Realizing the truth in the banyan's words, Ramu gathered the villagers together. "We are all part of a great web," he said. "The drought is not just the work of nature, but a result of our actions. If we are to bring back the river and restore our land, we must first restore the balance we have disrupted." The villagers, moved by Ramu's words, agreed to work together. They began by planting new trees along the riverbank, choosing native species whose roots would help to bind the soil. They cleaned the river, removing the waste and debris that had choked its flow. And they changed their ways, using the land and water with care and respect, mindful of the future. As the weeks passed, something remarkable happened. The trees they planted took root, their leaves providing shade and their roots holding the soil in place. The river, now free of pollution, began to flow more steadily, its waters clear and cool. The crops, once withered, began to grow again, nourished by the revived river and the enriched soil. The village, once on the brink of despair, began to thrive once more. And with the land restored, so too was the sense of community among the villagers. They saw how their lives were intertwined with the earth and with each other, and they vowed to care for the land that sustained them. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Ramu returned to the banyan tree. "Great banyan," he said, "we have done as you advised, and the land has been restored. The village is flourishing again." The banyan's branches swayed gently in the evening breeze. "You have learned the lesson of interconnectedness, Ramu. The health of the land, the river, and the people are all bound together. By caring for one, you care for all. Remember this, and the web of life will remain strong." Ramu bowed deeply to the banyan, filled with gratitude. He knew that the wisdom he had gained would guide him and his village for generations to come. And as he walked back to his home, he felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that he was a part of the great web of life, connected to all things. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the timeless wisdom of Buddha. We've explored profound life lessons that offer us a deeper understanding of suffering, the nature of our desires, and the path to true inner peace and liberation. The Four Noble Truths teach us to recognize and accept the reality of suffering, to understand its origins, and to believe in the possibility of its end. By following the Noble Eightfold Path, we can cultivate a life of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, leading us to profound inner transformation and lasting happiness. Remember, these teachings are not just ancient philosophies but practical guides for our everyday lives. Whether it's through right understanding, right action, or right mindfulness, each step we take on this path brings us closer to a state of balance and serenity. As we conclude, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your time, attention, and openness to these teachings. Your willingness to learn and grow is the first step towards a more enlightened and peaceful existence. Thank you for being a part of this journey. If you found value in these lessons, please share them with others who might benefit. Together, we can spread the light of wisdom and compassion in our world. Until next time, may you walk your path with mindfulness and may your life be filled with peace and joy. Namaste.